Hi everyone, I'm Janelle with Toons Unlimited, and today I decided to do a video based off of an email I received from a YouTube subscriber. So basically, this YouTube subscriber said, "Hey, I've been working with this application for a while, and I'm trying to figure out how can I make two characters interact? Can I make a character hug each other, for example?" And that's a very good question. And the answer to that is yes, but you have to learn how to be creative with the application. So, what I've decided, first thing, I am going to show you how I would make two characters hug. But also, I wanted to reach out to everyone and say, I've been receiving a lot of emails. So I created a new email account called askjanell at toonsunlimited.com. So reach out to me and I'll try to provide as much insight as I possibly can on the topic. Of course, I'll do explainer videos to illustrate what I'm saying. And hopefully, this will benefit everyone and give people a better understanding of the application and how to use it and just how to be more creative to get more out of the application. So don't forget to send your messages to askjanell at toonsunlimited.com. So here I have two characters on the stage. I have my character that I created, Thad, and I have one of the G2 characters from Reallusion that came with Crazytalk Animator too. And I want to make these two characters hug each other. And there's so many variations of a hug, but I just kind of went online and grabbed a quick reference. So I'm going to use this reference here of two people hugging. So in this case, I want Cherry to be towards the back, and I want Thad to be the one that's in the front. And I'm going to go ahead and turn him over to a 180-degree angle, and she's at the 0-degree angle. Now, one of the things I really try to analyze are where the characters are positioned, and then look at what type of layering I will need to do. And when I look at this picture right here, I can see that the first layer is going to be the female character's arms. The second layer is going to be the boy, and the third layer is going to be the rest of the female character. And that's what you need to think about when you see certain things or you're trying to do it. You need to focus more on the layering in order to make the pose more realistic. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get Thad in the position for this hug. And then I'm going to work on getting Cherry in the position for this hug, because Cherry is really where most of my work is at. That is pretty simple. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to keep his head, his body straight, but I want his head to tilt. So the first thing I'm going to do is go into the 3D Composer, and I'm going to rotate just his head at this angle. Gives it a little bit more of an embracing feel. And the next thing I want to do is really just first have his arms going into the front. So that's a layering thing. I'm going to go into the layer editor, and I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to hit the command button, and I'm going to highlight each one of his arms, and I'm going to say send to the back. So now they're in the back. His head needs to be repositioned, but for now I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to hop over to Cherry, and I'm going to start to get her stage in the position that I want. I'm going to use the 2D editor. And we know we're going to have one arm out like this and the other arm out like that. And right now we can't see anything, and that's fine. I'm going to take my time and slide that over because I really want his body to be covering up the majority of hers. So this is going to be a good spot for that. And one of the things that I do not want to see for Thad is his neck. So I'm going to go into the sprite key editor and I'm going to just tell it to hide the neck. Now using the 2D editor, I'm going to work on his head tilting real quick. So locate his head. I want it to rotate off to the side and I want it to slide back a little bit. Kind of like that. Now with Cherry, I want her head further over this way. And I want to continue to work on her arm. And I can't see it right now, and that's fine. I can work with this arm first, and then I'm going to work with the second arm. So we know that the upper part of her arm is tilted down, and then her forearm should come up and wrap around him, probably about right here. Once again, we want to work on the layering. We want that forearm and hand in front of this part of the arm. Let's see. And Cherry can come down just a little bit so that her face will kind of rest on his shoulders. So we're getting close. We're just about done with this, and I'm going to show you how everything comes together. So now that I have them pretty much posed in the way that I would like, the next thing I want to do is make another copy of Cherry. Why? Because like I explained in the beginning, her arms, not really her arms, her forearms and hands are in the front of the male character. So I'm going to make another copy of Cherry, and I'm going to bring that character in front. And now I have a lot of hiding to do. And what I'm hiding is the features that I do not want to show in the front. And the only thing I do really want to show is the forearms and the hands. For some reason, they popped behind them again, so I just basically brought everything back to the front so that you can see it. Now we have a little bit of stretching to make this look more realistic, and the stretching is going to be in regards to right up here in the front. So I'm going to lock Cherry that's in the back, and I'm going to lock that because I don't want to mess up that pose. And I'm going to go back to Cherry in the front, and the only thing I can really control right now is the forearms and hands. So using the 2D motion editor, I'm going to make this forearm longer. But I'm going to make the hands go back to more of a normal position. And since I'm controlling just this upper part, I'm going to bring it up to where I want it at. And this is probably the spot that I want it at. And don't worry about the forearm and hands with the character in the back. We're going to hide those so that the main thing that's being controlled are the ones that's in the front. And then with this same character, I'm going to stretch this one out a little wide as well. We'll bring the hands back in. And I'm going to align this so that it's back here. And now we can kind of close this out real quick and bounce back to the first Cherry, the one that's in the back. So I'm going to unlock her. And I want to, like I said before, hide the forearm and the hand. for both sides, just so that there is no mistake on which body parts are being animated. And now they're at a nice hug. And I can, if we're looking to maintain a similar pose, I can close Cherry's eyes and give her a nice little smile. Let's use the deform tool uh-oh, to bring that smile out a little wider. And then from here, we can just get the pose. I mean, that seems to be a little stiff, and we can get him a little more loose. I think I have him locked still. Let me unlock that more. And to be honest, really, this close up of them is from the upper torso. Let me see if I can bring this in closer a little bit. Sorry about right there. All right, so let's get that a little bit looser. Let me click on him, bring up the 2D motion editor, and just kind of play around with his body movement a little bit, just to make it look more, make him look more relaxed. And now I'm going to make sure I get the right cherry. I want the first cherry. As a matter of fact, just so I get it right, that way I can tell which cherry I'm working on. So for her, let's just bring her face in some. And she seems very stiff, and that usually happens when I'm going to go into the composer mode real quick. That usually happens when, yeah, her face depth is not turned up at a good setting. I'm going to crank it up to about 6 and go back out. And now let me play around with that more to get a better feel. And once again, I'm going to get her eyes closed because we're trying to match the current pose. And we can do different things. In this case, Cherry has a long neck. And if you don't want that neck to show, you can do different things. One is you can hide it in the editor. So I can hide her neck like I hide that. And then I can start to bring up the rest of her body. So I'm going to the 2D editor, and with her upper body selected, let me raise it up to where I think it's a good spot. And then I will lower her head down. And I think that's a good spot for her there. And to fix this little issue right here, this is in regards to the joint masking. And it's probably the joint masking for her face. Nope, looks like it's for the neck. And I want to expand that so it doesn't show. Nope, something is definite. Oh, I forgot to hide the arms in the back. So let me finish hiding the arms and hands. And now the goal is to make sure Cherry's arms in the front match up the way we want them to match up. And so now if she's given an embrace, you can now move her hands up and down. If you wanted them to embrace, they can interact. You can, of course, kind of go into the 3D editor, and using the arms, you should be able to like make them pat. You can do all types of stuff. This is how you can be creative and work on your posing, your layering. And the same thing for animating. You know, this is all now related to animation. It can definitely work to make it be more realistic. So I hope that this answers your question on how can you make two characters hug. And you can take this and try different poses and just pay attention to the layering. Let me see if I can find one more example. Okay, so you can play around with different examples. And in this case, you just look at the layering. The layering shows this character's in the back, this character's in the front, and then you want to look at the arms. So this character's arms that's in the back is one layer in front of this character's body. And this character's arms that's in the front is one layer above this character's arms. So you know, okay, basically, if I wanted to create some type of pose like this, I'm going to need 4 characters. I'm going to need 2 versions of the back character and 2 versions of the front character. Same can be said for here. So you have a different pose where we're trying to figure out what's going on. And the main thing that's going on is you have 2 side characters. This character's arm is going to be a different character. It's his arms right here is the only thing that you really need to move ahead of everything else. This character can be in the front and she can still embrace him and the arm can still go to the front, but this character's arms needs to be in front of this character's body. So this is a great way to kind of push your imagination and see what this application can really do. But to answer my subscriber's question, yes, it can be done. Yes, it can look realistic, and this is the way I would go about doing it. Hope it helps. Take care. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for new content every week. If you would like to purchase my product, head over to my store for characters, props, and scenes. If you enjoyed this video, here is a link to another video you might like from this channel. Thanks for joining and take care.